InDesign Beta has a new function that is currently being tested, which is in the beta version 21.4, and it's only in the English version. It's an AI assistant that should help you with creating your document, setting it up, explaining concepts, and also applying direct changes to the document. In this video, we're going to try this out. And there are some info pages in the helpx that I'm going to link in the video description that you can check them out. And I'm going to try out some of the prompt ideas that are inside of these documents. So let's switch to InDesign Beta. And you can already see the AI assistant. It's currently open. You can also find it in the window menu up here, in the file menu down there, and in the contextual taskbar here. So if you don't see it there, then just choose one of these other options to put it up. So let's first, I've already created this document. Let's set this up a little more. So I'm going to ask it this question, how to set up the trim, bleed, and slug for the document. Now, one remark, if you know that slug even exists, then probably you do not need to ask it this question because you also know how and where to do that. So let's put it in here and just hit return to give it that question. And it pulls together this information, of course, from the user guide and puts it in there. So here's the answer, and it's pretty quick. It just tells us where to do that and how to see it and how to print that when done. So that is pretty much correct here. I don't want to do that currently, but I want to change that layout. So first of all, I want to know how InDesign works. So what's pretty important in InDesign is the concept of parent pages, formerly called master pages. So I've heard of that and I wanted to explain that. I'm going to ask for the old terminology. So let's see if it knows that and corrects me on that. So again, we get a short description of what they are and where they live and what you can do and, and some best practice. So it explains me the best practice. Let's see if it can also stick to the best practice. And we're going to do that by asking it to change this layout into a 6-column layout. And also, my native language is not English, so I don't know all that English terminology. I call this space, which is not the correct terminology. So let's see if it still knows what I want. So this is what I wanted. And also it gives me a response and tells me the correct terminology, which is gutters. Now let's see if it did that correctly. It just explained to me the concept of parent pages. So let's see if it also did it in best practice. Let's take a look at the pages in here. This should be applied to a parent page. Checking them out, and it did it correctly. So here we have all of this on the parent pages. And going back here, of course, it got applied. So that was working correctly. Now I'm back working on page 1, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle here. And let's just put a text frame here, just like this. And I'm going to apply a fill to that rectangle. Let's make that magenta. And let's select this. So I can drag this. Oh no, I'm going to need that later. So let's get back here. And I want to have page numbers. So it applied page numbers to the footer and it explained to me what it did, but here we have the number, and also it did it correctly. It applied them to the parent page. So there we have them. Also, it put the page numbers a little outside of this main layout area, which is also correct. Most of the time they are outside of that. This is for the main text, and there isn't enough space down there. So that's right how it did that. And let's see what it did to the layers. In here, and you can see it created a new layer for those page numbers, like here, they are up there. And that's also a nice idea. Let's get back to that rectangle now. And I want to change the fill. Now, as you have seen, I have applied a swatch to it. Let's see. It's changed that rectangle, and let's see how it did that. And we can see it only changed the color. It didn't apply a swatch. So when I deselect that and go to that yellow swatch, then you see obviously that swatch didn't get applied. And also it didn't change the existing swatch that has been applied. So in InDesign, everything is about using styles. So let's select this frame here, and then I'm going to add placeholder text to that. So it couldn't do that. Usually this should work. So it's in the type menu, fill with placeholder text, and there you go. So shouldn't be a problem, actually. Let's put some paragraphs into that, and I'm going to make that visible like this, and I'm going to add some more in here so that we have a lot of paragraphs. I'm going to put the cursor into this here, and then I want to style this as a heading. It described what it did there, and let's see what it did to the actual styles. So we're going to the paragraph style, and there you can see it also created a paragraph style for this. And I have tested out this prompt, and in my first test it also explained that in the AI assistant, which would be important because I think the AI assistant should make itself obsolete after a while, because this all takes so much time, and it should not only just do what you tell it to do, but also it should do it in a meaningful way, which it did. But then it should explain to you that it did that and where to find that and how to use it later. So it created this paragraph style, and then in the other test I did, it also called that heading. So this actually had the name heading, which also makes a lot of sense. And when you later want to change that, you just change this paragraph style and everything gets changed. Let's select some of this here, and I want to have a list. Okay, it made a list. And again, lists should have a paragraph style attached to them, which didn't happen here. So we didn't get a new style. It did it right here, and it didn't here. That's kind of inconsistent. Also, the results of this are inconsistent, because this grid that I had it create down there, also in my first test, it didn't create it on the parent page. It created it on the content page. So what do we do with it? It's a nice idea to help users find the correct content in the help X system. What's not good is its inconsistent results. It's inconsistent, so you cannot rely on it, and you cannot rely on it doing the right thing in your document. Sometimes it does the right thing and sometimes it doesn't. So you already need a lot of knowledge in order to judge whether it did the right thing or it didn't. So this is actually not suitable for beginners because you need so much knowledge. Currently, it cannot replace asking an experienced person about what to do in your document and how to proceed and how to set it up. Because InDesign is a very complex system, and only if you set up your document correctly, then you can use it to the fullest.